We are a suburb outside of Houston, Texas. If you've been to Houston, I know that I hear there are some folks from out of the state that are here. We are a fast growth district. We currently have 96,000 students. And just to give you a perspective, when this presentation was done in February, we had 95,500. So we are growing. We're a suburban district. Over the past 6 years, we have added 15,000 students to our district. We have 76 campuses throughout our district. That's roughly 46 elementaries. We're opening our 10th high school and opening our 18th junior high. We have a 43% economically disadvantaged. And for those of you who in Texas, you'll know the rating system. We are an A-rated district, and that is a part of our accountability system down here in Texas. Today, we're going to talk about our attendance incentive initiative. We title it Attend Today, Achieve Tomorrow. And this idea was actually, we are in the first year, have not even completed our first year of this incentive, but we started talking about this back in January a year ago when our chief financial officer showed a plan that a district had done in South Texas that it implemented, and we started looking at that plan, and we were really intrigued by what they were doing, and so we started looking at it from a finance department to see what we could do to improve attendance and incentivize campuses to make it something that's important for us. I know many times on a campus, I spent most of my career on a campus other than the last 3 years. And I know as a campus principal of over 3,000 students, there are so many things that are going on. It's challenging sometimes to focus on those students that aren't there because you're dealing with those that are there and those parents and students and staff as well. When we started talking about this, and when I think about reasons for taking action for an incentive, the number one thing, which I know Xavier mentioned, is to improve student outcomes, and that's what we're here for. And so when we think about that, and I think from the lens of at the district level or from a campus principal, if you're going to improve student outcomes, you have to make certain that you have the resources to do that. And when we talk about resources, the number one thing to help with student outcomes is making certain that you can attract and retain quality staff. Equipment and facilities, they certainly are huge, as well as making certain you have safe and secure campuses, you have relevant instructional materials and provide a viable curriculum, and you create and maintain a positive culture on the campus, and that you engage parents and stakeholders to get them involved. And when I think about all of those things take money and they take resources in order to be able to do that. When we talk about reasons for taking action, and I will point to give you some data here in Texas. I'm going to use, if we have people outside of Texas, you're going to see the word ADA. I'm not sure about your funding in your state where you are, but we are funded by average daily attendance. So that's what ADA is. And when we looked at our data statewide in Texas, average daily attendance was down more than 3%. The good news for us here in Katy is that we were doing better than the state average, but ourselves, we were down more than 2%. And in Texas, funding is based on your ADA, not based on student enrollment. So when you look at Katy ISD's enrollment currently, and I have adjusted the number, so we were at 95,500, but Katy ISD enrollment is 96,000. So we have 96,000 students coming to us but we're funded on ADA. So we're only funded for 89,000 of those students. So you can see how important it is that we make sure we have our attendance up. And we know, I mean, obviously money is a factor, but attendance is the #1 predictor of student outcomes. And the other thing, the other premise behind this is that we know that campuses drive student attendance and academic success. If you'll see here this graph, you'll see the blue line or the green line is the state, and this is Katy here. And you can see where we are trending, and we were trending. We were up here around 96. You can see where we are, sitting at 89%. And so we really knew we had to take action and we had to do something. With this approach, and I'll get into the specifics about it, but we really talked about, how are we going to approach this initiative? And if we're going to put attendance on the forefront, we had to make certain that we get our parents and our stakeholders engaged, and we had to get them to take ownership of this initiative. And so one of the first things that we did back in June or August of this year is we went before the Board of Trustees and we shared our vision and our idea. And this also was recorded. Our board meeting was recorded, and we have our parents that have the opportunity to log in and engage in that. And so we started with our trustees, make sure they were on board. And then the next step, obviously we have to engage the parents because they're the ones that send the kids. We are fortunate here that we have a communications department, and so we engaged them with some branding, and we wanted to make sure that we aligned our communication with messaging out to campuses. The next thing we wanted to do is we engaged our campus leadership, and I'll show you some of the things that they did. And we didn't really prescript the strategies that a campus is used, because with our number, different strategies would work for different campuses. But we shared some strategies that work, and we wanted to celebrate things that were working, make certain that we shared them. And in order to make certain that campuses knew where they stood, we incorporated technology. RaaWee was a big part of that, and you'll see that a little bit later. And also, we incentivized financially our campuses. So this initiative was district-led, but we really let it be campus-focused, and they had a lot of autonomy in how they initiated strategies. The first thing that we did with our branding and messaging, we worked with our communications department. We utilized our logo for Katy ISD, and we had 10 today, achieve tomorrow. And we made some posters and some flyers, and we distributed those to all campuses. You'll notice the picture I have here. You have a couple of things over to the right. One of those is that campus is sharing that initiative on their social media. I think that's Instagram. Our campuses were distributing that out in their newsletters. You also have one of the posters hanging in the campus. And if you walk into Katy ISD administration building today at the welcome desk, you will see this poster there reminding parents and patrons how the importance of students attending school. One of the things that we did through the initiative is we really tried to provide some ideas and strategies. And I know Attendance Works is a sponsor here, and they have been a huge help. If you're not looking at their resources, you really need to, I would encourage you to do that. They have some fantastic things out there. We really tried to promote the initiative. And if you get the, we promoted it through our newsletters, and you'll see a little bit of that later on. And then we obviously provided a financial incentive, and then we tried to celebrate those campuses that were doing fantastic things. I've got some pictures of some of the things that campuses are doing, and this is just some things that we've seen around the district. One of nice things that we have our campuses, many of our campuses doing is they're putting this out in front. So you'll see this is an entryway to a campus where we have a campus that is put their daily attendance. So it is out in front so parents could see. We have campuses that are recognizing our students who have good attendance. And you'll notice we have some that have awards for attendance depending on, there's September, I noticed there's popsicles with the principal. In April, extra recess with the principals if you have good attendance or attendance improvement. And we didn't set those parameters. That was campus based, and we let them do that. And then we just tried to share their strategies with other campuses. You'll notice in the far left for our high school campuses, one of the big things is we allow students to be exempt from their finals if they have good attendance. And then we even this year gave campuses an extra, you'll see on that slide, a +1. They got extra exemption from finals if they had less than 3 absences. So this has been a big part of the initiative, is making certain that they're out there encouraging kids, they're promoting it, and they're providing strategies and recognizing those students that are doing well. You'll see this is some more things that some of our campuses have done. We have campuses that are having raffles and gift cards that they give out, and I want to make certain that I state this when I say that they're giving gift cards or raffles for prizes. That's not coming out of our campus budget or district budget. We have campuses that have solicited their business partners and shared our incentive, and they've donated those things. So you'll see this is a campus who received some donated bicycles, and they had a raffle for students with good attendance, and they provided they could win a bicycle. And you'll see down here one of our high schools who also had the opportunity to get gift cards for raffles as well. And down here to the far left, you'll see that we have a campus who had a pep rally for students that had perfect, or not perfect, but improved attendance. One of the other things that I know as a campus principal that it is important to do is you have to celebrate successes. I am someone who, I know being on a campus, your attendance clerks, they're the ones that are making it happen day to day. And I'm going to let Donna kind of talk about what she oversees or supports the attendance clerks in the district, and just kind of share what she's done to engage our attendance clerks in this process and initiative.
Thank you, Ronnie. So every week I distribute the weekly ADA newsletter. And in the ADA SMORE newsletter, we highlight the district percentage of attendance for the previous week, of course. On this particular slide, you'll see where I'm showing actual data where each, depending on your grade level, where the improvement was. And so this was towards the end of the first semester. And it showed the junior high, elementary, and high school campuses with the most improved attendance rates. Our campuses are very competitive. So each weekly SMORE, as Ronnie stated and showed earlier slides, will show where there are celebrations or ideas that the campuses are doing. Again, campuses want to be competitive. They love to share information. So we put that out there. The SMORE is also used by the ADAs, which is our attendance clerks, to also use some of the data to place it in their weekly newsletters that goes out to their parents. So again, this is parent engagement, community engagement, letting them know what we're doing to get our students in the seats and to keep them in the seats. The SMORE also contains district dates that are upcoming, importing dates, PEIMS reporting dates, things like that. It's a quick reference guide for the attendance clerks, so they keep it handy. At the beginning of the year, as we stated earlier, we give incentive ideas that other campuses are using for all grade levels, elementary, junior high, high school. Some of the campuses want to not steal, but collaborate and use some of the same ideas, if not improve ideas. The celebrations go from anywhere from the giveaways to pie in the face with the principals. And this student involvement, student engagement, community engagement, everyone is enjoying the celebrations of getting students in the seats to improve attendance and go forward. The s'more is accessible to the principals as well, but the attendance clerks use it weekly to send out newsletters for their communities.
Thank you, Donna. And for those of you attending, when you do get this slide deck, if you click on this red piece right here, you'll actually get a link to the newsletter that you can look at. I hesitate to try to click on that as I don't want it to mess up my presentation, but it will take you to the link, and it'll show you some of the things that we've done. Next, I'm going to show you, before we get into the kind of tell you what a campus has done. And this is actually one of our junior highs. And so this was, if you've been around education or in schools, you know that toward the second semester, at least for us, a lot of times your attendance rates diminish. And so this is one of our campus principals who made a video. This is right after the Super Bowl, as we come back, or right before the Super Bowl, as we're coming out of our first semester, and he is challenging his staff to improve attendance. And so I hear you won't. It has some music to it, but you won't hear that. But if you can just read, it's just a kind of giving a message, a play on the old Visa commercial that you would see on TV. But one of Dr. Lowry at Wood Creek Junior High, one of his assistant principals, Carla Beek, made this little video for the staff to challenge them for the second semester. So I'll play it. So I'm going to stop that right there, and I'll get into the how. But this campus had actually, their incentive was $7,500 based on their improvement. So he said, here he's announcing to them that we received our first semester incentive, and challenging them to make it happen the second semester. And so you will see, and I'll show you the formula for doing it. But if his campus were to maintain their current status, that's what they would receive at the end of the first semester. I like that because I even thought the principal is also giving a shout out to the staff that your attendance matters as well. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about some of the strategies and how we celebrate. But now I'm going to talk through tools that we use to keep up with the data. And fortunately, we have a robust technology department here, and Mr. Crider heads up many of the things that we're doing with regard to providing this data. But I'm going to turn it over to Donna to Michelle and James. But before I turn it over to Michelle, I just want to give a shout out. One of the major tools that we have is the RaaWee software. I was a campus principal that piloted the software. I guess this was probably 4 years ago now. And little did I know at the time I would soon be overseeing RaaWee, but it has been a great tool for us. And I'm going to introduce Michelle, or let her take it from here. but she is a great asset for us, and been on the ground level on a campus with RaaWee, and now she's at the district level. So Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about how you utilize RaaWee?
Sure, thanks. I also was involved when we piloted RaaWee back 4 years ago. I was at a junior high that actually fed into Mr. Edwards High School campus. So our whole feeder pattern piloted it together. So I've been able to work with them for several years now. I was on committees where we got to work with them to improve. They are fantastic about modifying, changing, making things more user-friendly for us and taking the feedback from us. I've also worked on 2 comprehensive high school campuses where I did RaaWee. We are fortunate in Katy ISD to have dropout prevention facilitators that work with our comprehensive high schools and schools. So they are also a big part of the reason we are successful, because they are looking at these RaaWee boards and providing support to the campuses as well. But recently, since moving into this position, I've been able to talk to some of my new coworkers and principals and things, and kind of been giving them some strategies and suggestions for how to structure that, how to make it more efficient for them within their other duties that they have as administrators. So that's been really helpful to be able to have that perspective. We use RaaWee every day. Sending out, we've got a process in the school district that we follow. Our ADAs are involved in sending out information from RaaWee. Our assistant principals are involved in sending out information from RaaWee. Our dropout facilitators are involved in helping with that. So we have a process in place that we use to make sure that everybody's consistently monitoring and getting this information out to the students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. One of the things that we've tried to utilize, and you'll see some screenshots, and I think this is from that we took from Dashboard 2.0 on the RaaWee software site. But one of the great things that I like is this weekly goals that you can have for each campus. And I've blurred the goals, but this is our high school, and high school principals are extremely competitive. And so this weekly target, setting those and sharing those with your campuses, I think is a great thing to do. I know I don't even have to share them. Our principals are looking at those things. So it's been a great tool for us. We have some other tools. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kreider to share some other things that we use before we get into the formulas for the incentive.
So first of all this makes me very happy, right? Because this is part of what the purpose of my job is to try to get data out in front of people, and then they can use that to make decisions, or more informed decisions. And that's kind of like, you know, we're not in competition here. Like, we have an in-house built things like what that you're seeing here, and then we also use RaaWee and some other tools to help students and parents and staff members all together, and we're all just trying to go towards the same goal, which is, you know, helping out our students. And it's all awesome stuff. And it kind of the result of that is what some of the things you saw earlier from Ronnie, where when they're putting all these things into place at the campus, we want to be able to kind of give feedback on, is it working or is it not working? And these tools help with that. And then they can reference that whenever we're talking about the incentive, which Ronnie will kind of talk about in a second. But while RaaWee is used daily, we did want to provide an option that kind of looks back historically, which is how we're actually using the incentive to do the payouts. So we're actually looking at performance to a previous marking period. In our case here in Texas, our marking period at the campus level. So it'll be a comparison from their current to their last, and whatever that improvement is how they're receiving the incentive. So we have a dashboard portal where there's many dashboards in it for various reasons, functional dashboards, depending on what part of the organization you are, if you're a principal, and all these things. And so we created this particular dashboard you're looking at here for our admin staff and our principals to check their status as they go throughout the year. It's using live data, and it's comparing to the previous marking period. So right now we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years here. So Ronnie, next slide. And I kind of wanted to just blow up this bottom section, because that's the one that the principals are really, you know, concentrating on when it comes to tracking their attendance as we go through for the incentive. And it kind of explains what I was saying about how we're looking back at historical attendance data. So we do keep all of our historical district-wide attendance back for a decade or so. And then we archive everything else off. So we're lucky to have readily available data like that to be able to produce something like this. So this is getting used quite often this year. Obviously, it's brand new in terms of the reason for it, for the ADA incentive. And so this has become, I think, our second most looked at dashboard that we have, and we have like 100 or something. So very popular. Okay, Ronnie, next. What I failed to mention at the beginning of when I introduced kind of what my group is doing, the PEMS department, which is in Texas, here in Texas, is basically our state reporting department, is underneath me as well. So all the data that comes in from the campuses that we actually get funded on, which is the base for what we're talking about here today, that we submit to the state, that group is under me. We also have another tool that we push all that data into, and it's called OnPoint. And we actually, leverage their ability to take our state data and calculate ADA attendance on that as well. And this is the baseline by which we do the ADA incentive. So, we talked with the finance group, and we came to a solution of what's the baseline data that we want to actually look at to be able to give these campuses, and something that they can go back and historically look up. So obviously the state provides these reports historically. After every single year, we do our PEM submissions multiple times a year. So they can actually look at this information, and it can be accessed by the public, really. So we do use the state submitted data as a baseline, which was important in this case. So we're giving different ways to look at the data. You've seen RaaWee. We leverage RaaWee on a daily basis. We look at dashboards over a history or a long period of time, and then we're actually even using our PEMS data to have a solid baseline by which we're doing the mathematical calculations, which is you'll kind of see in a second for whenever we're doing the payouts. And again, it's just all kind of it's fun for me because I want try to get as much data and information out in front of as many people as possible, not to just flood it where it's confusing. You want it to be understandable. And so I think that all these tools that we've kind of shown you right here, it helps us do that.
Okay, thank you, James. One of the things I want to mention that as we talk about our dashboards and our data, and then we have RaaWee, I would just, like to shout out to our folks in RaaWee. They've done a really good job of making certain that our data matches. Sometimes I think one of the things that can be a challenge is if you provide a number in one place and it doesn't match to a number somewhere else. And that has been really good for us, that they've been willing to work to make certain that our data that we're submitting is the same as what is showing in our software as well.
I'll piggyback on that. Can I say something real quick about that? Sure. Not a sales pitch or anything, but it has been really easily to, I've dealt with RaaWee directly, as far as the integration with them and getting them our data. And anytime we've come up against any kind of discrepancy or anything, they've been great at, analyzing that and helping us figure out why the number might be slightly off. And we've been able to, reconcile that every time. So I kind of echo what Mr. Edwards is saying.
Okay, thank you, James. So far we've been telling you how we've been doing it, and we've shown our tools and some strategies. But now I want to get into kind of what is the incentive? Like, how do you figure the financial incentive? So this is where our executive director of finance would come in, but he was unable to make it, Jamie Hines. So I'm going to try to do my best job with this. So with the incentive, each campus receives their historical data, average daily attendance data for each 6 weeks. And each campus will receive an ADA improvement plan, and they will, and we're going to provide those to them every 6 weeks, because that is how we are, that's how we report to the state, through a 6 weeks period. Even though our our elementaries are on a 9-week grading period, we still go by the 6 weeks. And campuses with substantial increases in ADA will receive incentives. So the great thing about this incentive is you are only competing against what your campus did 1 year ago in this 1 year ago in the same 6 weeks. So we look at your data, each campus's data from 1 year ago, because we know there are differences in attendance based on different factors with a campus, whether it's their socioeconomic level, because some of those students, we know they may have some other challenges that some of our other campuses might not have, as we are a very diverse district economically. So we wanted to make certain that each campus was competing against themselves. Based on year-to-year ADA campus improvement, which I just mentioned, and they are awarded per campus per semester. So the first semester, it was based on a campus multiplier tied to ADA improvement. And one of the things that our financial people wanted to make certain that we did is, with so many campuses, we could have one campus that made an improvement, but if the district doesn't go up, it's hard for us to pay extra money out to those campuses. So we had to make certain that we improved over attendance as a district, and then as a campus, you improved. In the second semester, and you saw in that in the video, that is where the district, that's where campuses could make substantial incentive, and there would be a district multiplier initiated if the district improved and your campus improved. And so I just mentioned that, but all those incentives require an improvement overall in the district's ADA percentage. So our semester 1 incentive, it was calculated and distributed in late January or early February, whenever our financial group and our PEMS department could make certain our numbers were correct. And that was we have distributed, and campuses, I can tell you, they're very excited, and when they're looking forward to that second semester. The second semester distributions will come in the following year's budget. We have a September 1 budget start, and so we did not want to allocate those incentives at the end of the summer where principals couldn't spend the money. So they will get their second semester incentive beginning in September of this year. And so we kind of showed the incentive allocation that we used. For those of you in Texas, I know this will mean something. Function 11 is instruction, budgeted for instruction. Function 13 is teacher staff development, and function 23 is administration. And so we distribute it into the campus's budget in those functions at that percentage based on what they earned. And so through this first semester, just to give you an idea of what this incentive has done for us, we were through semester 1, we were right at almost 1% improvement. And I believe that is going to be somewhere around $5 million if we were to continue that trend through the end of the year. If we were to, I believe we're about $5 million for every percent that we include. But most importantly, what this improvement means is that 865 kids each additionally in our district are coming to school each day. And this is the first time that Katy ISD has seen an improvement in actual attendance improvement. And so that kind of gives you an overview of the incentive. I do have, and I've provided to Janie a PDF of how that formula is calculated. And so she will be able to distribute that out to you. So at this time, I will, if you have any questions, we have my group. Hopefully we can answer them. If it's about the formula, I may have to, get Mr. Hines to answer those for you who couldn't attend.
So we had a question from Don Hastings. Says, do you have any issues when a campus naturally exceeds the normal district rate and are unable to achieve a greater ADA?
Can you repeat that question just so I understand it? Do we
Yes.
have a
Do you have any issues when a campus naturally exceeds the normal district rate and are unable to achieve a greater ADA? We might need a little more explanation on that one, Don.
I think I can kind of answer that one. There's in the formula, there's caps on the improvement, and the campuses know that. So if you have a campus that, I'm throwing out obviously not real numbers, but if they went up 10% versus 1, they would be capped at a certain percent. And so and they're aware of that, if that answers the question.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And if there's any more questions, feel free to type them in. Great. That's the question that we have. Sure, there's going to be probably some more coming in.
Can I stop sharing now, Randy?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So Don Hastings says sometimes campuses outperform others in ADA. We have one at 98%. Well, going by what you said, James, I think that's correct.
I think he's referring to they're capped out almost, so there's not room for improvement, right, Don? I think that's what he's kind of getting at there.
Yes.
Mr. Ronnie?
Yeah, and I would say to that is that, we ironically, our one of our top campuses is one of the ones that's still getting that incentive. But yes, I do understand that 98%, it is harder to improve when you're at 98%. I recognize that. But those students, a lot of times those campuses that are at 98, and I don't want to speak for all of them, but my experience is many times those campuses have plenty resources, because there probably is, if you have a campus that's at 98%, I would imagine that those students and kids probably have a lot of resources that maybe some other campuses don't have, and they probably have a healthy parent-teacher organization that can help fund extra things. My experience is that when I was at a Title I campus, or a campus with high-low socioeconomic, in order to be able to do all the things to create positive culture, a lot of those things take money, and that's where that money is going to really help those campuses. But ironically, one of our top campuses in attendance is one of the ones that received a incentive. In fact, every one of our campuses in the district received some type of incentive through that first semester. I think there was all but one, and I think we were able to incentivize them because they were a campus, a really high need campus, and we incentivized them from another area so that they could provide some things for their teachers and staff to continue making that push, because we know this second semester is what really makes a difference.
Awesome. And then Paul Karampantan asked, how do you take account the higher trending schools comparison?
Yeah, I would just, for me, it's really about you're competing against yourself. So we don't really compare campuses. To get your incentive, all you have to do is beat what you did last year. And because of the district multiplier, you only you gain when your neighbor improves. So the more your neighbor improves and the district improves, the higher that multiplier is going to be, which is going to give you an opportunity to gain an extra extra funding.
Excellent. Excellent.